Hey there, all you horror hounds. Welcome back to The Crypt, your ultimate guide for digging up those horror film gems, hidden treasures of yesteryear, and just some of the forgotten movies to add to your crypt. I'm continuing my series tonight on made-for-TV horror movies, and I have one, sort of an eerie exploration from 1973. It's Dying Room Only. This tightly crafted thriller was actually scripted by Richard Matheson. And yes, you've heard me talk about him before. I'll talk about him again. He's going to make a lot of appearances when discussing made-for-TV movies because he wrote a ton of wonderful short stories, screenplays, and also the novel I Am Legend. Matheson was a very prolific writer, known for blending horror and science fiction and fantasy elements. He adapted this screenplay from his 1953 short story, published in 15 Detective Stories magazine, and it has the author's trademarks all over it. Seemingly normal people that are just dropped into nightmarish situations. His ability to craft tense psychological narratives, very evident in this film, making it sort of a standout in the made-for-TV horror realm. You might think, just based on the title, that this might have something to do with a haunted hospital, but no. The hook here is a little bit more interesting. Cloris Leachman and Dabney Coleman play Bob and Jean Mitchell. They are driving across the Arizona desert and they stop at a small cafe with an adjoining motel. There is the usual sort of bickering between a married couple who have been together as long as they have, and honestly, in just a few minutes of their bantering, you have a very good idea who these people are, how much anxiety has been packed into their trip, and how exhausted they are coming off of this vacation. They both go to the bathroom, and when Jean returns to the table, she begins to wait, and Bob never returns. The owner and one local in the diner are very uncooperative. They don't recall seeing him leave. She demands to search the men's room, and eventually their station wagon mysteriously peels out of the parking lot, leaving Jean stranded. So, did Bob just have enough of all of the bickering and arguing, and he just left her there? It's a really terrifying premise. Remember, this is 1973, so if you're starting to get shades of things to come, yeah, you're not wrong there. The basic setup of 1988's Dutch thriller The Vanishing owes a lot to this film. That movie was remade in 1993 with Kiefer Sutherland, and a much more sort of fleshed out version of this story you can find in the movie Breakdown from 1997 that stars Kurt Russell, Kathleen Quinlan, and J.T. Walsh. But honestly, if those two films have kind of faded from memory, I guarantee that this one has fallen off the radar altogether. While I wouldn't label this as a scary film, the tension in the first half slowly ratchets up as Cloris Leachman sticks to her conviction that her husband would never just abandon her. Leachman's performance is outstanding and it really carries much of the film. And again, remember, 1973, she portrays a woman who doesn't cower or collapse in the face of adversity. That certainly would have been the norm at the time, at least on film and TV, as far as the way that it would have been presented. So kudos to Matheson here for creating a strong female character who holds it together, even when everything seems to go off the rails. Cloris Leachman would be primarily known for her comedic roles throughout her career, such as she played Phyllis Lindstrom in the Mary Tyler Moore Show. She was actually on that show when this film came out, and so it shows a real departure for her. And of course, in Young Frankenstein, she played Frau Blücher. But here, she showcases a lot of real dramatic chops. Frankly, I can't recall ever seeing a performance of hers that I thought she was phoning it in. She always seemed to bring her A game no matter what. And of course, Dabney Coleman turns in a very solid performance here as her husband Bob. He's best known for his roles in 9 to 5 and Tootsie. You also have Ross Martin as the cafe owner. He's shedding all traces of his character, Artemis Gordon from the Wild Wild West. And Ned Beatty, as always, just becomes the character. He sheds all vestiges of his role from Deliverance just a year prior by becoming the thing that was so dangerous in that film. He's now the hostile local who has no patience for the city folk. I'll just remind everyone that this was at a time when viewing options were limited. Anything new was exciting, and while this one does not hit the sort of high grand finale of what it's aiming for, it's still nicely set up, beautifully acted, beautifully directed, and I mean it delivers some actual thrills to it. So the ending might be a little bit of a disappointment, a little bit more of a whimper than a bang, but the first third of the movie has some solid creepy vibes. I think to say anything more might ultimately give it away, and I don't want to do that. No spoilers whatsoever here. So if you are up for a spine-tingling journey through the desert, I think this one might be well worth your time. Until next time, stay curious and stay scared.